Welcome to the Power of Lifting podcast. I'm EricCafferty, owner of the Mecca Gym. I am a strength and conditioning coach and a contest prep specialist. The focus of this podcast is to dive into the mindset and the drive of people who have done incredible things with their lives. Well, we're in for some fun today.
That's right.
Whoop, whoop. Oh man, coming back, we've had some good podcasts lately, but I'm especially excited for this one.
Oh yes,
and I think that's for good reason, wouldn't you say, Mr. Hunter?
Absolutely.
So today we have on, like all guests are special, but I feel like Ava's extra special because she feeds me
On a weekly basis.
on a daily basis.
Oh, that's true. I guess
yeah, daily basis. Yeah. So the famous Ava Flavas, Ava Harren, welcome to the Power of Lifting podcast.
Happy to be here.
Oh man. So this is a first for us. We send out a questionnaire to prompt and prep people, just to give them an idea of what we're going to talk about on the podcast, let some ideas roll around in their heads. And this is our first guest. She specifically requested to not be sent the questionnaire.
No question.
I want the conversation to flow naturally wherever the cool topics go instead of having an agenda. So we'll see what we talk about today.
Which I respect because
Yes,
I'm totally a fly by the seat of the pants type of guy in certain situations. So anyway, that was good. Now we're here. First things first. What do you do? What is it that you do on a daily basis that makes you so great?
The life of an entrepreneur is pretty much you just wing it every day. Every day is a new day, and honestly, that is like the biggest reason why I just I follow your program to a T, because that's the only structure I have in my life.
That works.
When I moved here, I was working at, I don't know if you want to go here already, but basically I was graduated college and drove here from South Carolina, and I was applying for a job here.
So let's backtrack before you take off too far. You are from Anchorage, Alaska.
I'm from Anchorage, Alaska. Yes.
Originally, which is awesome. I love Alaska. I've been up there a couple times and gorgeous. Fishing is out of control.
Yes.
Which I've done up there. Hunting, I hope to someday do there. Amazing.
Soon.
Also, got to go get that Alaskan moose and brown bear. You know what I'm saying?
The thing you dream about.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And her dad sends her pictures of these incredible moose, and I'm so jealous. It's not even funny.
Our garage is decked out in racks. If you walk in my garage, like, that was normal to me. I was just like, yeah, that's our garage. But then people that don't live in Alaska are like, what are you doing in here?
So anyway, back on track. From Anchorage, Alaska, and you graduate high school. Where did you go from there? You are to preface this, you are one of the most, if not the most amazing chef / cook / baker, whatever you want to call it, culinary artist, we'll call it.
There we go. That
right?
is badass. Yes.
That I know. And so I'm kind of trying to paint the picture for people how you went from graduating high school to opening your own meal prep business for bodybuilders. So you graduate high school, and then where do you go?
One of the biggest reasons why I chose the culinary route was because the high school I went to had a Pro Start program in the high school with a kitchen. There's like 6 stations in the kitchen, and then my aunt had just moved over there to be the Pro Start teacher. And that's an aunt I'm very close with, so I was like, sweet, definitely taking her class. And she really pushed me to go hard. Like, she pushed me into a culinary competition my sophomore year in high school.
Oh, wow.
And I was conflicted because I was on the track team, and I loved track, and I was trying to, do the extra practices they were having. And so I was kind of like, oh, do I want to push hard in track this year, or do I want to do the culinary competition? So I decided to do the culinary competition with my friend at the time, was also in the class. So there was 4 of us. We'd stay after school and practice. And it was a competition where you get 2 butane burners, and you have to make an appetizer, an entree, and a dessert in an hour using only the butane burners and like an ice cooler. And so we also had to fabricate a chicken. I was the person that had to do that. So basically you have to show, where all the parts of the chicken are. You can cut it open. You can take the leg off. You can debone.
Dissection.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
So
like.
basically, we worked on that. And that was a competition with cameras in my face, and so I was like right away exposed to like, having a camera in front of my face,
Show business, baby. That's
and
right.
cooking and being under pressure. I remember like during the competition, we were piping whipped cream on one of the desserts, and we forgot to put the piping bags on our cart. And we're like, what do we do? And so my friend like grabs a latex glove, we cut it off, we're piping it on.
There we go.
So,
Just make it work.
yeah,
That's
just
awesome.
learning how to
MacGyver.
wing it under pressure. So then I really enjoyed it, and I was like, well, why don't I look into culinary schools for college? And I was looking on Oregon Coast Culinary Institute and all over, and looking at what programs I could get into. I wanted to go to NAU, but I chose to stay in Alaska for culinary school because there were 2 performance-based scholarships I had received. A lot of Alaskans want to leave and get out right away and see, because you're kind of on like this isolated island unless you drive through Canada, other places. So everyone's like, I want to go see the U.S. But I had 2 incentive-based scholarships to stay there. And then I'd gotten a 3rd scholarship, so I was like, you know what? I'd rather graduate debt-free. I'll start out in Alaska.
Smart.
And maybe transfer to Arizona or whatever. So stayed in Alaska, and then met a boy who was in the Air Force. And then my senior year, I decided to go move to South Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina. Funny, you were just there.
Yeah.
That's where I moved, and
the food there was incredible. Incredible.
Yeah.
So you moved to Charleston, and there's a school in Charleston that you went to?
So it was actually a bakery I moved to because
Oh.
I guess I can tie in my bakery background with this. But basically, it was part of the degree, hospitality and restaurant management, is you do the culinary 2 years in the lab, all of that, cost management, and then I did a business background too. So part of it, they want you to do an internship. So I picked Charleston because the boy. And I ended up at Browns Court Bakery working a 3 a.m. shift, my pay was cut in half. So in Alaska, I was making $20 an hour in college at a bakery. And then in South Carolina, I made like $10 an hour. And I was like, oh, I love this internship. It's great. But 3 a.m., it was like 90 degrees. I would bike there. And then working around, 2 ovens all day. And it's 90 degrees outside.
Holy cow, yeah.
You take like 2 showers a day to get covered in flour. Ugh, it was rough.
So what were you baking there?
I was in charge of the French bread, so I would get 6 tubs of French bread every day, and I had to make English muffins and cut it into like the French loaf, do all the cool cuts on it, load it. They use this interesting oven where it's like a canvas cloth, and you like stage all the bread on the canvas, and then you like slide it in the oven so it jumps on. And there's so many techniques, like you have to spray some of them with water, and you have to rotate them halfway through, and
it's a science.
They're serious about their bread there.
Yeah.
But then
I can attest to that. The bread, any bread that I had there was phenomenal.
Yeah, and they would make so Charleston's a huge like bachelorette destination town party, big party town, so we would make hangover sandwiches with hash browns and bacon and biscuits and all the fatty food. They love their food there.
Yeah, I know, this is too much.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Don't need a hangover to enjoy that sandwich.
Yeah.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, actually, I worked in bakeries for 6 years. So while I was in college, I was at a bakery, became supervisor there, loved it. I would work the night shift and during the day, making cinnamon rolls and all that. So I love food. If you can't tell, love food.
Yes.
Like all of us do. Right?
I mean, yeah, we've talked about this on the podcast a lot. All these people that are into lifting and hardcore into exercise are also super foodies, myself included.
Yes.
So
right.
Yes.
Well, I asked you the question before. It's just like, do you enjoy cooking outside of work? Because you just like hear all this stuff. Just like chefs go home and they're like, I don't want to cook because I just did that all day for work. You're like, no, I'm gonna cook for myself because I love to do it.
I'm that weird one. I will get off work and be like, time to make a pancake. What's for dinner? Okay, what am I cooking? I cook all day. Yeah.
That's so cool.
That's
awesome. Well, it just makes sense why you're so good at it too.
So where did you go from there? You did your internship at the bakery in South Carolina, and then where'd you go?
Yeah, I was finishing up school online as well. I was able to kind of be like, do the internship and then finish. I was doing a minor in nutrition online, and that's where I started like consulting with clients like virtually, and kind of that's what got me on the meal prep path. It's kind of, I still have the old video where I was telling people why you should meal prep, and I'm like 170 pounds, like in college. I'm like, oh gosh. But yeah, that's where I started talking about meal prep.
The roots.
And then my best friend was moving to Boise for hair school, and I was like, I don't want to go back to Alaska yet. Why don't I check out Boise? So I drove here in my Kia Soul, threw all my stuff in there, 23 hours, 2 days it took me.
Dang.
Set up camp here.
So when was that?
Came here at the very end of 2017, and then kind of got set up like 2018. Was here.
Is that
That's
so?
when you decided I'm gonna live here. Was
Yeah.
2018.
Yeah. So I met you in what, like May of 2018?
May of 2018.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So right when you got here.
So I was still doing the whole eating muffins and cupcakes for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then run 6 miles so you don't get fat. That was kind of like how I stayed fit.
Great equation for you.
Yeah, I was definitely one of those cardio bunnies, because I grew up an endurance runner on the cross country running team, and also was on cross country ski team all 4 years. In Alaska, we're nuts. We love trails and hiking and running and all that. So that's,
I would hope so, because that's where you do it.
They're plentiful. Lots of
Yeah.
elevation.
Right.
So I usually just did 6 mile run and ate whatever I wanted. But anyways, I'd always wanted to do a bikini show, and I watched one in Alaska and saw Buff Bunny compete, who's from Alaska, and that's where I was like, oh, I have to do a bikini show. And so I'd always wanted to do it, but I was too scared to do it. And when I came here, I'm like, that's what I'm gonna do. I've always wanted to. I'm gonna do it. So I started looking at coaches here in the area, asking around, like, who does bodybuilding shows? And I interviewed a couple and interviewed you. And I remember saying, like, I know a coach in Alaska who'll coach me online, but I want to pay good money for a coach. And you were just like, okay. But your questionnaire was really thorough, and I'm like, okay, they seem to know what they're doing here. So I went with you. And at the time, when I was here, I was working at Waffle Me Up, Liège waffle place downtown, and
which is incredible, by the way.
Yes.
I can't speak to how they are as employers, but I can speak to their food, and it's
Good grubbing.
oh geez.
yeah, they can make a Belgian waffle. And so basically, I was like, I'm gonna do a show, and I saved up every tip dollar to hire the best of the best. I was like, I don't care what it takes, I'm gonna do a show, and I want a good coach. So that's kind of how I found the Mecca and Eric.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Just decided.
Yeah, and so at that time, where were you at in planning Ava Flava at that time?
I pretty much,
Like, you had the idea in the back of your mind, but when did you actually? I can't remember exactly when you like officially launched.
I think February was when I got my DBA of 2018. So
Okay.
I was looking for work, and I was like, maybe I'll work for bodybuilding.com or here or there.
Yeah, because I remember you were like, at the time, like when I first met you, I know you'd mentioned it, but yeah, you hadn't really started like really pumping stuff out.
Yeah, I was just 1 day a week, just out of my apartment. Full disclosure, in the beginning, 1 day a week.
That's right. Y'all got to start somewhere.
My apartment had 2
Garages,
fridges, and that was the best feature. I'm like, oh, you don't know how much food I could put in these fridges. Yeah, so I started in my apartment 1 day a week, and then was working for the waffle shop, and training for my first bikini show is how I started here.
Busy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's slowed down since then, right?
Yeah. Real leisure.
Yeah.
Real
so,
leisure. That's crazy.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. So did you, when you originally got out of college, did you think like meal prep business? Were you thinking restaurant business? Like, were you thinking I could open a bakery someday? Like, was the meal prep thing something that you kind of started with early on, or how'd that come to?
I had a really good advisor who made us have, when we graduated, we had to do a 5-year plan. And I did write I wanted to open a business in 5 years. But I would say what kind of, originally, since I had that whole baking background, I wanted to do wedding cakes for my business and my career. But my sophomore year in college, I had foot surgery. I had 2 bunions, and it was super painful running. So I run all the time, and 6 miles a day, running, and it would just be so painful when I would go to sleep at night. And so I decided to have bunion surgery, and that was a big wake-up call for me because I was like, oh, I can't run anymore, and I can't keep eating like I do, so, and I can't, like, what am I going to do now? So I had surgery, put joints in my right foot, or joint fusion in my right foot. They put screws in, so I had to cut way back on the running. So I would just go to the gym and I would start lifting, and then I started to focus more on eating, and I was like, you know what? I'm more passionate about fitness than I am more like wedding cakes. So that's when the maybe I should meal prep idea came in. And
Cool.
I was meal prepping for myself at the time in college. Like I would go to the culinary labs, we would make almond croissants and like ham and Swiss croissants, and here I was eating like frozen broccoli and chicken in the middle of winter in my car between classes, and people are like, you're weird, you're not taking croissants home. I'm like, no guys, just chicken and broccoli for me today.
Look at you staying strong. That would be so
Oh,
difficult
man.
because it's difficult sometimes anyway.
Yeah,
But then you literally are making this stuff and your friends are just wafting in.
I was the weird
man.
one in culinary school. Yeah, I'd just try a little bit and it'd be like, okay,
There you
gonna
go.
eat
That's
my meal
enough.
after.
Move
Yeah.
Oh man.
Sprint out to the car.
Yeah.
So, what are the things that you're most proud of so far out of all the things, that you do and that you've accomplished? You've competed in how many shows now?
We've done two
The
shows.
two bikini
so-
shows, and then you've run and that was in 2018 in the fall, and then 2019 in the fall.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So did progressively better at each show,
Mm-hmm.
and then obviously you expressed interest in going further in the sport. So I talked you into taking an off season,
Yeah.
and that was hard to talk you into that, but
Yeah.
I think we finally accomplished that. COVID helped, sort of.
There you go. Forced you to ground yourself a little bit.
Yeah, but you've run the mountain marathon up in Seward, Alaska. How many times?
7 years.
7 years
Wow.
and counting.
And that's coming up right around the
Yeah.
corner.
Yeah, in
And
about
then-
4 weeks, it'll be my 8th time going up the mountain
Yeah.
and back down.
So
So
crowning achievements out of, all that stuff athletically, you've gone through school, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What are you most proud of?
I'm most proud of graduating college debt-free. And I'm sure everyone knows by now, making the show Hell's Kitchen with Gordan Ramsey, because Gordan Ramsey is one of the most legend chefs out there, and so being able to cook for him and have him eat my meals was like, I can die tomorrow. That life complete.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we got to dive into
So
that.
so let's talk about that. So you go through all of your background, you get to Idaho, you start a meal prep business, and then what got you onto the show? How'd you even hear about that?
So the first bikini show I did, well, first off, so naming the business after myself, Ava Flavas, I use my bikini show as a business write-off. So it was advertising. So I did a big photo shoot in the Jump Event Center kitchen at the end of my first show.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I kind of promoted, like, oh, I have abs and I make pancakes and I made a website. And so that was like the
And
first
she
show.
makes incredible cake with those abs.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Let me tell you. Anyway, we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
Continue. Jump downtown.
So that was one of the reasons why I was hesitant on becoming a chef. I was like, well, I don't want to get really fat. So I was like, why can't I do both? I get a 6-pack and also love cooking. So
Nice.
got
And
the
you can
website.
absolutely.
Yeah, proving it.
Yeah, you definitely can. You can eat more food and have abs.
Yes.
Eric has shown me the way.
Wow. This is the way. More food. Always.
More food.
So anyway, you're cooking downtown. You got your website going.
Got the website up, and then I had an email from my website lead saying, hey, we think you'd be a really good fit for the show. And I was like,
No
Hell's
way.
Kitchen? I'm like, this is spam.
This
I
is
almost just
fake news.
I almost deleted it, and then I was like, yeah, I'll respond. So I responded right away, and she was like, wow, you responded so fast. Can you do a video call tomorrow? I was like, okay, yeah, sure.
Wow.
So, and I also had to submit a video of me cooking, like, the next day. And I was like, okay. So I got my boyfriend and his brother, and we all drove to the Waffle Me Up kitchen downstairs in the basement. We all parked in the alley, 3 cars. I set up, I'm like, okay, what am I going to make? Spaghetti squash and Thai curry chicken. So we were filming that, cooking late. This was like 11 at night, filming that, got the video done for the submission. And then, funny, we all got $60 tickets in the alley. 3 cars, 666.
Dang.
And I was like, that's a sign. I'm like, I'm going to make Hell's Kitchen. I was like, at first I was like, oh, we got tickets. But I'm like, it's a sign.
It's a
And
sign.
so
That's amazing.
submitted the video, and then there was a lot more interviews after that. We were actually traveling, and I had to make these video calls, and it's a process to get on the show. It's not just like, oh, you'd be a cool fit, like, come on the show. It's like you have to be pitched to the show. So they interview you, and then they have to pitch you saying, I think she'd be a good fit because blah blah blah, and you have to interview with like a psychologist and make sure you're not crazy and all. There's a lot of steps. Get a health test. So made it on. I actually didn't even know I was on it. Like when we got flown to Vegas, I still thought, I was like, maybe I'm an extra. I don't know. So I was in the hotel, and then you meet the producers and everything. I still didn't know.
Wow.
And
So no one came up to you and be like, you're on the show?
yeah, I was like, am I an extra? I don't know. But then the day of, they like brought you all down and mic'd you up, put you on the party bus, and I'm like, okay, it's happening. Wow, there's everyone. And yeah, I didn't even know who I was competing against. I was stressing. I'm like, oh my gosh, these people are probably gonna have worked for like all these restaurants across the nation, and I just have Ava Flavas. And I got on, and it was like everyone was in their 20s, and I was like, okay, wow, like I got a chance on the show.
Nice.
So
That's awesome.
So that was the point of the show. Was it was like what is it called? Hell's Kitchen. Then what's the
Hell's Kitchen Young Guns.
Young Guns?
So,
Young Guns.
yeah.
Cool.
So everyone's like was 18 to 24 at the time. I was on the older end of the spectrum. I think I was 24 at the time, or 23. It was 2 years ago now. And yeah, some people were fresh out of culinary school. One guy had cooked in Beverly Hills, been homeless in Hawaii. I was like, wow, you guys are pretty dope.
the stories? Yeah.
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
So what was that process like? Were you like nervous, excited?
Was everything off camera much different than it was on camera?
I mean, once you get to the set, the Hell's Kitchen set in Vegas, you're mic'd up 24/7. So like, even peeing. You're like, oh gosh, I can't say anything. But no, it was very interesting. You kind of are on guard a little bit because you're like,
What do I want to say?
yeah, like I'm definitely a quiet person. Like I study my surroundings. I'm just like, what's going on? I just intake and listen. And then other people are super social, making friends, and I was just kind of like, okay, who are these people? Like, getting used to my new zone, and I was pretty quiet in the beginning.
So can we talk about what you cooked?
Yeah, we can. So I cook Ava Flavas orange chicken was my dish of choice for Gordan Ramsey.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Which is one of my faves, by the way.
Yes.
Yes. And the first thing he says is, doesn't have very much flavor. And I was like, Gordan, I'm Ava Flava. You can't say that to me.
Don't you
Like
dare,
just,
Gordan.
he's just messing with me. And he
Yeah.
also, I garnished the plate with pineapple, and I cut it in this like cool diagonal shape with all these edges. I was like, ooh, that'll look cool on the plate with the contrast. And so he just picks up my pineapple, and he's like, what is this? It's knacky. And I was like, knacky? Like, I didn't know what that word is. And I was like, he's like, it looks like a hockey puck. Because I was
A hockey puck.
You're doing a great job with the accent, yeah.
I was the first Alaskan on Hell's Kitchen, so then he knew how to just blast me. And I was like, okay, thanks, Gordan. I thought my orange chicken was pretty good. But
What'd you serve with your orange chicken with like rice and broccoli? Like
yeah,
you normally
rice
do?
and broccoli, and I think some sesame seeds. And yeah, so he just destroyed you. He just burns your ego. Just boom. You are nothing.
Well, I think your orange chicken's fantastic.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just my 2 cents. But
It's a good 2
I
cents 'cause
probably,
it's delicious.
I probably don't have the refined palate of a Gordan
Oh,
Ramsay.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been around the block.
I mean,
Yeah.
I want to see what that guy eats on a daily basis.
He's roasted like camel head. One of his shows, he was like, oh, here I am in Morocco today, and we're going to cook a camel's head in a clay pot down here. And I'm like, what?
Whoa.
So his palate is very refined. He's had everything you could think of.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
that's pretty crazy.
So did you interact with him much, like when it wasn't showtime?
No, I mean, pretty much once you're off the show, peace out. But I did get to have a dinner with them. First night, the girls won the challenge, so the red team, and then we got to go dine at Gordan Ramsey Steakhouse, and that's when we brought on previous winners of the show. We got to ask them questions, and that was really cool. So I was like, wow. So because the winner of my season gets to take over Hell's Kitchen, or the Paris Gordan Ramsey Steakhouse there on the Strip.
Oh,
so
cool.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we got to dine there, and I got to see, like, oh, if we win, this is what we're going to be running. And it was...
what did you
So
eat?
the team would run it.
Oh, we ate everything. They were pouring us glasses of wine, his beef Wellington, just a bunch of rounds. But honestly, we didn't really get to eat, like, try it all because we were, like, filming. And then right after it filmed, they're like, okay, skirt. And then the, like, video people are going in and eating it. We're like, oh, I didn't finish my wine. Okay, bye. You're out.
Oh, dude, I would have been, like, stuffing pockets.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool.
So overall, that was a good experience, right?
Yeah.
Did you learn a lot?
Yeah, it opened my mind up substantially because, like, Gordan Ramsey has tons of restaurants and tons of TV shows. So seeing how, like, fine dining it is, and, you know, his face is all around Vegas, you're just like, wow, he's a big deal. So it opens your mind up from, you know, small mind in Anchorage, Alaska. Like, oh, I'm going to work at this bakery. And then, oh, this is Gordan Ramsey and you're in Vegas. It's, you know, opens your mind up a lot.
That's a
That's
big
awesome.
deal.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big deal to be on that show. So your episode airs before this podcast will be released.
Yes.
So it's on the 29th?
It will be out on Memorial Day, the 31st Monday.
Oh, the 31st.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Well,
I
everyone's gonna
can't
have
wait to
tune
watch.
in.
So what knocked you off the show?
So we had a challenge where we had to pick an alcohol and a protein. And I was like, boom, I want salmon. And then I picked bourbon. And I was like, I'm going to flambe the bourbon and make a sauce. And so basically you're told right then, this is your challenge, what you're going to do. So I was like, okay, salmon, bourbon, boom. And then we start going. And honestly, because I am a healthy chef and have been doing meal prep for so long, I was kind of off my game with cooking with alcohol. Like, there's a technique to flambeing, and you have to have sugar and you have to have high heat. And I don't cook with alcohol anymore. Like in culinary school I did. So I was like not quite ready for that challenge. But long story short, I made my stuff. I was cooking rice, I was cooking salmon, I was cooking a sauce, I was chopping a garnish, and how am I going to plate this? And someone had like knocked my rice off the burner, and that kind of threw me off my game. I wasn't like
Dirty dogs,
it was someone set me up, and then this is like 2 years ago, and I still haven't seen the episode, so I'm trying to recall from the best of my memory. But basically, my salmon was raw, and so the girls' team, they were like, okay, he was like, basically, they make your team call you out. So it's good training for real life. They're like, okay, what were the 2 shittiest dishes on your team? Mm-hmm. And all the girls were like looking at it, and I'm like, well, my salmon's raw. I know. If you vote me at the bottom, I get it. Like, I won't be butthurt. So they're like, yeah, you're at the bottom. So then I was like the bottom 2, and then, because Gordan tried he was only going to try so many plates. So mine was on the bottom 2, and then they voted the bottom 2 boys. And so we came up, and he kind of was talking to us, and when I got eliminated, it was because I got voted the bottom 2 from the girls, and then he picked me out of the boys versus girls. So luck of the draw. I was telling all my friends when I went on, I just can't be the first one eliminated. I was like, I don't care what happens, I just can't be the first one eliminated. Boom, first one eliminated.
Oh, you were. Oh no.
It was the biggest ego blow. But
so how did you cook the salmon?
Yeah.
I think I did a soy sauce, olive oil, Worcestershire marinade, which I learned from Bridge Seafood Restaurant in Anchorage, Alaska. They're very famous for their salmon, so that's what I did. Marinated in that, and I think I was cooking it in a saute pan, if I remember right. And then I was trying to do that bourbon sauce, the rice. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Dude.
Well, it sounds incredible.
Yeah, I just remember when we talked about this. Oh man, it's so funny. You're like, got eliminated. I'm like, no.
Dang it.
Yeah, walk of shame. And then you're secluded in a hotel room after that to like think. You're just like,
Oh no,
They keep
trapped in a prison of your own thoughts. Oh
Yeah.
no.
Oh no.
yeah.
So we kind of covered how you're involved in fitness. You've got this. Well, I'll just say it's my favorite meal prep company. There's a lot of meal prep companies out there, but I'm biased for a lot of different reasons. But the food's fantastic. So your target audience is the health conscious. There's a lot of meal prep companies out there that do stuff, but yours is, unique in that you offer all of the macros for all of your meals and all of that stuff. So, the tie-in is definitely there with your, your background and, marketing, competing, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
How do you see yourself expanding upon that in the future?
How do I see Ava Flavas expanding?
Specifically with kind of the tie-in with health and fitness, like what do you feel like you provide in the health and fitness community that wouldn't otherwise be out there?
When we create a dish, they're all original recipes. We look at fiber content, potassium, sodium, protein especially. So we want to get good amount of protein, 30 to 40 grams for like 4 ounces portion, and then we make sure there's 5 grams of fiber in a meal. Because that's one thing I never really paid attention to is fiber. Like if I'm like, well, because you recommend we get 30 grams a day, and when I was reading, all the notes of what I should be eating, I was like, 30 grams. Like, how much do I eat a day? It's like 5.
Yeah.
Much different
So
than 30.
I was like, oh boy. So how can I up fiber? We started looking at that a lot last year. I looked into inulin powder, soluble versus insoluble. So we don't put something on the menu unless it has 5 grams of fiber. And then for people trying to get on stage, they try to keep their sodium to 700 milligrams a meal about, instead of like, when you're in culinary school, you're taught you should season everything. Like season the vegetables,
lots of flavor.
Season the chicken before and after you cook. And my chef would always be like, more salt, more salt, more salt. It was an inside joke, just more salt.
Yeah.
And so watching sodium is something that's different, I would say. When you go out to eat, you're guaranteed you're eating at least 2,000 milligrams of sodium in a meal, at least. Because they just throw it on.
Yeah.
And then like
Tastes
fat.
great.
Well, it's delicious.
Yeah, fat. They always have clarified butter and oil on their stations. Just throw it on. Like you are eating a lot of fat and a lot of sodium anytime you eat out. So we pre-measure how much fat we're going to be cooking with so that we know exactly how much fat's going in your meal. So that's very different and very hard to do when you come from a cooking background, to be like, I want to cook it so it comes out like this, but we can only use this many grams of fat. It's a trip.
Yeah.
It's a trip.
I mean, one of the biggest things to me is that, I always look at, because there's a lot of meal prep companies out there, and I always looking at, what was on the menu and things like that, and just, always constantly questioning macros, because, especially for myself and especially the athletes that I coach, like if I'm going to have them, go through a meal prep service, like I gotta know, like these numbers are legitimate. Like we can't futz around. You can't be eating, thinking you're eating certain amounts of something, and there's 30 extra carbs in there that you didn't know about, and stuff that. So
that'll mess you up.
So I mean that could completely derail prep, and it's high stakes, and so we want things to be accurate. So that's a big thing for me, and just knowing that, like how accurately you calculate everything. And if I have questions, like I think the other week where I was talking about like a turkey burger or something like that, and I'm like, how in God's name is the fat so high in this meal? It's tasty, but and then it's like really reassuring. You're like, oh, this is why, and I'm like, oh, okay, good.
Like
Makes
the
sense.
egg, pepper jack, oil, 93%. You're
Right.
like, okay.
Yeah. And so it's like, oh, okay, I understand.
Yeah.
Would that be what you like experiment? What do you spend the most time doing when running Ava's Flavas? Is it like experimenting on meals that come in the future, or making sure that the meals that you currently are making are hitting the and stuff like that?
So I have a problem with creating new ideas and new recipes too much. So we've actually stopped creating new recipes right now, or we're just running through our 50 solid recipes and how can we make this even better? How can we make this even better? What do I not like about this? Like the plating, or maybe we should put a different vegetable with this. That's what we're doing right now. A lot of just like fine tuning it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Say no to broccoli.
Yeah, I know. Only broiled. You gotta blacken it. Get some crisp on there.
Seriously. Yeah. I don't know. I just don't like broccoli. I went through a phase where I really liked it, and now I'm in a non-broccoli phase.
I gotta broil it.
I'll eat it.
Yeah.
I'll eat it. I mean, honestly, the broccoli that I mostly eat comes from your meals. So
the best way to do broccoli is broil it with lemon juice for some acidity and some rock salt, so it's a little crunchier of a bite. And if you get that stuff black, it's good broccoli.
Yeah. Blackens is definitely good. So, what is your favorite meal that you prep?
Ooh.
Favorite meal. I like jalapeno artichoke tuna melts, because usually when you hear like tuna salad or tuna, you're like, ew, who likes tuna? But if you make it the right way, with jalapenos and some cream, like jalapeno artichoke dip is so good.
So good.
Yeah, if you pair that with that, broil it on an English muffin and some Parmesan, maybe a tomato slice on there.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think for a while I was like stuck on orange chicken, man. But this last week, that coconut rice and teriyaki chicken.
I just had that today. Actually.
Dude.
Heck yeah.
Oh my gosh. I mean, then the other one that, I always continuously go back to that's delicious is the lasagna.
Oh yeah, that's
the lasagna.
staple.
It's like crack, man.
Yes.
So good.
Yes.
It is so good.
Yeah, it's incredible. So
like I just feel like too, if it's in the bite fridge that we have out here, and the word that it's in there just spreads, like it's a terrible high school rumor. Like it just flies, and then next thing you know, if you're not buying it right then,
the people know. The people know.
Carly told me she was restocking the other day the Iron Man dirt pie. She said there was already a line forming behind her before she had the door shut. I was like, that's hilarious.
She's like worried about her safety.
She's like, watch your back, shut the door, leave.
Yeah,
Savages.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm a huge fan. I think like getting my meals prepped from you is, I mean, obviously it's definitely a luxury that I'm growing to like not be able to live without, just because it is such a time saver. And I would prep the same things like pretty frequently. Like you have your protein, you have your carbs. Like, what's easy to cook on the weekend? Okay, rice, duh, that's a no-brainer. Rice, cooker it, done, right? Then you've got, kind of oscillate between, your chicken thighs, your chicken breast, your red meat, so ground beef, flank steak, you name it, things like that. Just, depending on what you buy at the store and stuff like that. And then it's like vegetables, who has time for that type of situation?
Oh, yeah.
Right. And so having, somebody, bring meals is like, it just is so much more variety that I would never get otherwise. I never get tired of eating one thing because it changes on a weekly basis, and it changes on a daily basis too, because you're not just prepping like, okay, this week I made Mongolian beef, although I would eat that Mongolian beef all week long, and would not get tired of it. But
honestly, it's for my own selfish interest. Like, I like eating different stuff every day. So when I was making the business, I was like, how can I do this? A new menu item every single day. And then I have other people helping me prep it, so I also get to eat new stuff every day.
Oh, for sure.
So
I think that's one of the things too that helps separate your business is your ability to keep things fresh and keep things different so people don't get too stale. Because there's like meal prep companies out there. It's just like, you're gonna get chicken and rice every day. I'm prepping it for you so it's convenient, but that's all you're getting.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. The different tastes, and it's like things that I would never make. Like I'm not gonna prep a whole thing of lasagna. Like I can make healthy lasagna. I've made delicious healthy lasagna, truthfully, but I'm not gonna, like, when I'm thinking meal prep on the weekends, I'm not going to go make a huge thing of lasagna.
Oh yeah, and the dishes. Even if you make two different dishes, like the amount of dishes you create, you're like, oh, that was fun, but it's also.
I mean, you're spending it would take me all friggin' day. on the weekend to be able to do that. So the amount of time savings you get is just out of control. That, and you got the macros, just plug that into your tracker and you're golden. I mean, you're good to go, right? It's like, beautiful. It's so easy.
So what's the process when you do, like, if someone submits, because you do like custom macros, right?
We do offer custom macros, so you can either order on the website or you can fill out a questionnaire. That's basically, what's your height? What's your weight? Are you training with a coach? Do you know what macros you want to eat? Do you have dietary restrictions? How often do you drink alcohol? So you get a quick little snapshot of, like, what are they eating, and what are they doing? How active are they? And if it's someone who doesn't really know much, we have registered dietitians that see those intake questionnaires, and then this person should be eating this many calories because this is their goal. So then they pitch them their calorie quota, and then depending, people are like, this is my budget, I want 5 meals a week, or I want 10, or I want 20, or I want 5 and some snacks. So then we fit it into their budget, and then every week we're just filling in whatever's on the menu. Okay, this for this person, she can't have that because she hates broccoli or whatever.
Right.
And then we kind of cater to that, so that it's kind of like a subscription. Like those clothing subscriptions where they're like, oh, I'm just going to subscribe and they're going to send me 7 new items a week. That's kind of how I like to do it with the food. So you're like, ooh, what's coming this week? And you're always excited.
What's a blast?
Oh, yeah, the weekly menu announcement. I'm like, oh, what am I going to get for lunch next week? It's definitely something to look forward to.
I think that's an amazing business model. It's super awesome to see that unfold and stuff like that. It's awesome.
So what are some of the challenges that you face trying to cater to an ever-growing audience of people? I feel like, every week I'm referring you people, and I feel like every week one of the people that I've referred you people to has then referred you 3 different people. And now everybody wants Ava's meal prep because it's delicious and convenient. That's right. So how have you dealt with the challenges of ever expanding the amount of meals you're going to make?
Well, we started out in Guru Donut's kitchen, which, because of my bakery background, I was like, I know bakeries aren't using their kitchen during the day. So I reached out to them, and sure enough, they work night shifts, and they're out by 8 a.m. So I was using their kitchen, kind of like got uncomfortably crowding their kitchen fridge. So then I moved to Bombay, my boyfriend's family's restaurant, Bombay Grill. I love their butter chicken. Shout out to them.
Shout out Bombay Grill.
Shout out to Bombay's butter chicken.
People that are listening, they're going to go to Bombay now.
Yes.
What are the staple menu items that you need to try?
Okay, let's get started. Number 1, chicken tikka masala, mild, medium, or spicy. I do the medium.
Boom.
Is it spicy? Spicy
is spicy.
Just to warn the people out there.
Yeah.
It'll kick you in the pants.
And then saag paneer is a spinach dish, which I love, and his dad makes paneer cheese from scratch every day.
What?
Like fresh cheese cubes, and that goes in the saag paneer. They also make their own naan bread and roti in a tandoori oven. It's like a clay oven.
Dude.
Oh my gosh. Yes. It's amazing. That's the best perk ever. But yeah, anyways, I got to move into that kitchen next because they don't use the space on Mondays. Then when that got uncomfortable, I found a ghost kitchen, which I don't know if I should disclose the space because I don't need more people crowding me out. We're pretty crowded in there.
You don't need to disclose it. She found a new kitchen.
Yeah, we found a new kitchen, which is helping us grow for now, but we're already we need our own space, which we're in the process of doing right now.
Oh, exciting!
So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm all for it. I need an Ava Flavas restaurant that I can go to too. She's got to do it someday. Someday it's gonna happen.
Right around the corner.
Yes.
Yeah, it's gonna be amazing.
It's coming.
So, selfishly, I want to talk about this dang carrot cake that happens to me every Thanksgiving, which is the most incredible carrot cake I've ever had in my life. And I think the highlight, which I discovered the other day, you took a family recipe and then added my favorite part onto it because it just makes the dish.
Okay.
Is these candied pecans on the outside, dude. Out of control. And every year you make it, and you've started making it, and last year during Thanksgiving week you just stocked the whole fridge with it.
There's a funny story to this. Okay, but so the carrot cake is like a piece of me. So when I did decide to do the wedding cake route, that's like the one thing I still love to make, even though I'm doing healthy food all the time. So yeah, my mom is like, you can't give this recipe to anyone because she had this teacher in elementary school that would give it to her best students who scored good on a math exam. Ooh. And so my mom, her whole family, she was 1 of 12, was a bunch of nerds. Love you, Mom. And so they scored well. They got the recipe, and then I always made that recipe. And then my aunt, the one I talked about in culinary school, taught me how to candy a pecan. And so I combined the two, and it's candy pecan carrot cake, not cheesecake, carrot cake. So anyways, last year for Thanksgiving, I was like, you know what? We're going to close the meal prep, and all we're going to do is carrot cake. And
legitimately.
Yeah.
I forgot to put the price tags on the cakes in the bite fridge. So you guys got it for free last year.
What?
It's just a funny story,
Sure,
but I honestly, I'm like,
Spoiler
whatever.
alert.
Happy Thanksgiving. I'm going to do it every year still.
She's just spreading the love.
That's right.
Oh my gosh.
That is straight
That's
charity.
the flavor love.
The best part is she put the macros on them, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
Sure. But, and then I always ask you to make me a separate cake every year because I cannot have a Thanksgiving now without Ava's carrot cake.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And it contributes to, I don't even try and track really Thanksgiving week a whole lot typically because it's just, whatever. It's a week. And I eat the same stuff. I eat healthy, whatever. But I just know, there's carrot cake involved and whatever.
He gets the double stacked 10-inch round Cafferty size cake.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Holy
And
cow.
the problem with that is I will eat the entire cake in the matter of a few days. It's disgusting, but I'm willing to admit it. It's so
the kitchen
good.
probably is amazing. Smells amazing.
Oh, yeah. If the pecans, that's all you need.
So, do you remember the macros off the top of your head? Because I know you did squares in the meal prep containers, and then they were 4 servings in each.
I want to say it was 500 calories this piece of cake.
It was.
Yeah.
It was
The whole container?
No, for a fourth of it.
Yeah,
A fourth
for
of that.
So it was
Fourth.
2,000. I think it was 520 if memory
It's a
serves.
big decision. You're like, if I'm doing this, we're doing it.
You got
it.
it.
And what's my penance? My treadmill? How many hours? How many steps?
I mean, how many people am I going to share this with? The answer to that is none. So, which is why she has to make me a whole cake because I'm like, well, if I'm going to share this, I'm going to need at least half the cake to myself.
You just see Eric walking out with the whole fridge. He's
No,
like, I just got to take
yes, no, it happens. It's bad, but
Yeah.
no, the carrot cake. So, what is your favorite thing to cook? Absolute favorite. If I was like, you go make Hunter and I a meal. What would you make for Hunter and I if you went and cooked us a meal?
That is
Your
not a fair
favorites.
question.
You can do a couple of appetizers, maybe a starter, some sort of sample entree because I'm a 2 entree type of guy. So a starter entree, an entree, and then a dessert, maybe 2 desserts.
Okay. For an appetizer, I love peanut butter chocolate balls, with honey and oats.
Oh, dude.
That's my favorite snack, hands down. And it's so quick. You just microwave. You can microwave the peanut butter and honey, oats, chocolate chips, done. It's like a no-bake cookie.
Good to go.
Yum.
Let's see. It's all sweet things that are coming to mind, like pancakes, cookies. That's
fun.
what I like making. But cinnamon rolls.
Oh, dude. You're speaking our
Pizza.
language.
Okay, I make a pizza every week. I love pizza. From scratch dough. Because, if you put the yeast in, if you proof it good enough, you get some oregano, some homemade marinara sauce, good fresh mozzarella. You can't go wrong. Any pizza.
Oh,
Okay, so pizza's the main dish. What
yeah.
about apps? I know you did for our Thanksgiving cook-a-thon thing. You did something incredibly simple.
Yeah.
And
Is it russet potato fries?
No, you did the cracker with the brie and then a little bit of the sugar-free jelly on it.
Yeah.
I never thought to do the sugar-free jelly, but it was incredible.
No, the flavors together
The
were
blackberry sugar-free jelly with brie cheese and then a salty cracker. That's solid right there.
Yeah, that was really, really good.
Yeah.
What other appetizers come to mind? Come on, talk to me. I'm getting hungry.
What are the appetizers? I'm thinking dips.
Now we're talking.
I like sun-dried tomato ranch and then with potato. So you get the sun-dried tomato and the ranch. That's just a good vibe right there, that flavor.
Absolutely.
And then I love if it's sweet potato fries, purple potato fries. Have you ever had au gratin. It's like a layered potato dish.
Yeah.
You have to have potatoes in your appetizer, some form or another, whether it's like baked in milk and cream.
I
or
can
fried.
subscribe to that.
That's what I
fine.
would do. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Delicious. So,
Yeah.
what's your favorite dessert to bake? Is it the carrot cake?
Yeah, carrot cake. That's
Okay, that's fair
100%.
enough. Yeah, fair enough. Do you do a cheesecake?
I do. That's why I make a lot of cheesecake bowls, because it's hard to live without cheesecake.
It is. I agree.
I love all things chocolate and Oreo. Actually,
Oh my God.
Bless you.
Yes.
after I race Mount Marathon every year, I eat an entire pack of double stuffed Oreos.
Wow.
2 milkshakes, half a pizza, couple drinks. So I love my Oreos. That's why I have a thing for Oreos, okay?
I share that thing.
I used to just cut hardcore every year in my weird running ways, not the right way,
Right.
for Mount Marathon. And then after a race, I'm like, give me those Oreos. So I love making cheesecake with like an Oreo brownie spin. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is there something you refuse to make? Like out of
Um,
principle or out of matter of just, I don't like this?
honestly don't like the word keto. It drives me crazy because I love carbs. I love them. And you can eat carbs. So people who eat 20 carbs or less a day, I'm like, I can't cook you anything fun.
Yeah.
So when people say
Fair.
keto, like, I respect it. I love the high-fat bacon, avocado dishes. Get that. But it's hard to cook fun things with, like, bread and the things I like to cook when you're keto diet. So.
Yeah, I hear
Yeah.
that. I hear that on a spiritual level.
Yeah.
So, man, we really got on food tangent. That's good.
It was
I love
only a
food.
matter of time.
So, how would you say exercise has enhanced your life?
I would say I like lifting first thing in the morning. I come here like 6 in the morning because it just gets your head completely clear for the day. So no matter what you're taking on for the day, business meeting, consultations, whatever I'm doing, if I come here and lift, I'm like, okay, I'm clear of what I need to do. Let's go. Was when I don't lift in the morning, I just feel like I'm already behind, and then my days off, like, oh, I ate this, I'm gonna mess up my whole day, and it's just a spiral of like bad decisions. So like, I'm here right in the morning, get the lift done, and then my day's always like
Sets
super
the
productive.
tone.
Yeah, super.
That's
I always
amazing.
feel like if I have to exercise like later in the day, I always feel like that pressure, like there's something I need to do that I haven't gotten done yet.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I just hate that feeling.
Yeah.
Even though I usually don't lift in the morning myself. That waits a little bit later, but still I totally can subscribe to that.
Yeah.
It's good advice, especially for busy people, right?
Oh, yeah.
You got stuff to do, you get
Yeah.
lost in your day if you don't come train first, right?
Yeah,
You start
it's
out
my
with something
priority every
grounded,
day.
yeah.
Because I'm training for a show right now with Eric, and so if I don't get the lift done, it's never going to happen. If I put like anything with the business before, I'm going to be too stressed, whatever, to get that lift done. So for me, highest priority every single day is you get that lift done, you get every rep done, then whatever happens the rest of the day.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So let's talk about this show. Speaking of the show, so prepping for a show and a different direction potentially this time, right?
Yes.
So that's a really fun, different thing to work on, like different federation. So instead of just sticking with NPC bikini, which, is great. It's great competition. There's lots of people that compete in it. You've been somewhat inspired by the WBFF and the fitness. Is it Fitness Diva division, right?
Yeah, they do a couple. One is the sports model division. One's more like a magazine kind of modeling division, which I like the sports model because I like the look of more muscle.
Yep.
Half the motivation for me to compete is traveling. Me and my boyfriend, we've gone to India, we've gone to London, we've gone to Italy. So like that has all inspired me. Like, wow. And then when I saw that this show is in India and it's in London and it's in Italy and it's in Germany, I was like, oh, this is awesome. I can travel to all these places and compete. And so I remember I think it was after my first show maybe, I sent you a photo of a girl and just all diva'd up. I didn't even know that she was a WBFF girl. I was like, oh, bikini show, that's the one. And I was like, hey, what would it take for me to get here? And you're like, with your work ethic, 2 years. That's what you told me.
Yeah.
And I was like, 2 years, I'm going to do this. And so it's been 2 years and I'm ready.
Yeah, so cool. It's been fun to
Yeah.
kind of be a part of. You've had me like film some stuff and all this kind of jazz. So all that goes into these shows is super special and super unique, which I think you should talk a little bit about. But also, yeah, that dedication that you have is exceptional.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so what is different about this division or this federation, and what inspired you most to walk into that besides the travel?
I I used to love watching the Tyra Banks show, America's Next Top Model. Like, loved all the photo shoots.
So did I.
That's why I do so many photo shoots. I'm like, oh, it's the young Ava, you know. But anyways, I like that the WBFF is more pageanty, so you get to do theme wear. Like, you can do like a Vegas theme, or you can do, you know, all these big themes with like headpieces and big wings people do. And so you do your bikini round, you do an evening gown wear, and you do a theme wear. So it's a big kind of pageant, but also fitness production. So you have to look classy. Like, they send you requirements. Like, you are gonna show up the night before, like on a red carpet, and you better look classy. So I'm like all about it.
It's more showy.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So this show that you're prepping for right now, New Zealand.
Yes, whoever listens to this will be ahead of the game because I'm trying to keep it low key. I'm keeping my sights set on New Zealand, but if COVID still happens, it's going to be Miami because they're both in November. They just rescheduled the New Zealand show from July to November, and so I always go home in July. I'm like, no, I can't do New Zealand, and then they moved it, and I was like, this is my chance.
Yes.
So now it's on the horizon.
Oh my gosh,
That's awesome.
beautiful. Have you ever been to New Zealand?
Never.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
I know. I'm like, what are the travel restrictions going to be like?
Right.
I might need to go.
Right.
Yeah.
I got a coach.
I think it's
Sorry.
either a 14-day quarantine. Like, there's ways in, or I think you could get a sports exemption. So I think I fall under that sports exemption.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
I should try and tag along. Just saying.
Yes.
So,
Casey too.
yes.
Come on.
So what are the top 3 things that you're most passionate about and obsessed with today?
Passionate about and obsessed with. I'm obsessed with food and passionate about cooking and traveling and fitness. I think people should be able to live a healthy lifestyle and eat the food they enjoy, and still enjoy, you know, hanging out with friends on the weekend. A lot of girls that talk to me, they're like, oh, I really want to compete, but I don't think I could give up going out on the weekend. Like, I love doing that. And I was like, actually, I still drink a gin and tonic every Saturday, sometimes a couple of them. And I'm still, you know, losing weight every week. I'm still hitting my macro goals and still getting lifts in. And they're like, what? I'm like, yep, you can make it work around your lifestyle.
Yeah, I 100%. I mean, I think a lot of people just completely, you know, their mindset when it comes to it is just not right, you know. They think that, you know, they're in the diet mindset, right? Like, you know, we talk about that a lot. I think we've talked about that with almost every guest. Like, oh, I'm on a diet, or I don't want to go on a diet, or something like that. It's like, why you gotta use the D word, man? Like, don't bring the diet into this.
Put
like,
it in the trash. And
it's nothing to do with that. Like, the bottom line is you're eating to fuel your body, and you're eating for health, and that can mean tasty things too. They just have to be accounted for, you know. Monitoring body composition, you know, having a coach, meeting with somebody that's holding you, you know, accountable to your goal setting, you know. Things like that, you know. Obviously you have goals and you're working towards achieving those, and as long as you're sticking to your parameters, like, you can have good food, you can eat things that you want to eat, and you don't have to deprive yourself and be miserable all the time. I really hate that notion that, oh, if you're on a diet you're miserable, and it's
you
like,
have to make it a lifestyle. Like, you have to make it something you're enjoying during the process, because bodybuilding and competing is a long process. So if you're like, I'm gonna be in diet, like, famine mode for 6 months to a year or whatever,
that ain't gonna work.
You're gonna be so burnt out, and you're gonna go polar opposite the other way if you don't enjoy yourself.
Zombified too. I
Every
mean,
part of your life. Well, like you talk about, on the good side, every aspect of your life, it gets better.
Yeah,
if you do
absolutely.
every aspect of your life will get worse if you go about it the wrong way.
I mean, and there's of course times, you know, later in prep when you're really going that extra distance where, you don't really have the energy to do extracurricular things sometimes. Like,
you do have to buckle down at some point.
But that's a very short time frame for the most part. You know what I mean? Like, we're talking like 8-10 weeks here. You know what I mean? That you're like really, your calories are low enough to where you can't really fit a whole lot of extra things in. You want to eat only specific things because they're more filling, things like that. And at that point, but that's a very small slice in the bigger picture.
Yeah, I think people look at the final, 8 to 10 weeks, and they're like, I could not do that the whole time. But like us as athletes, we've had off seasons. We've slowly cut down to that calorie point. And then our friends, understand what's going on. So, like, you'll go to barbecues and you're like, I'm only going to eat this much. And like, huh? But it's like, as long as they, understand what you're doing and they support you, then no big deal. Like, they know you compete and they know it's your last 8 to 10 weeks, so you're going to be stricter,
Yeah, absolutely.
So. Open communication.
Yes.
Open communications. Yeah. No, I love the fact that, you're passionate about food and your business and also passionate about fitness. I think that's just such an important balance to have. It's like you said, you don't want to be the 300-pound chef, and whoever said never trust a skinny cook is full of crap.
Agreed.
And I also wouldn't call her skinny. I'd say lean and ripped.
Lean. You can trust the lean chef.
We don't say skinny. We don't say the S word at the Mecca.
No more S words, no more D words.
That's it. It's lean. So we talked a little bit about this, but your 2 to 5 year goal professionally, you want to get into your own space. How do you see Ava's Flavas expanding in 2 to 5 years?
There's a couple ways. One is we could continue putting fridges in other gyms, helping out other gyms, after people get a good lift in or whatever, they have a healthy meal to take home. And then also in the online space, we are working on an app right now to do pretty much the same thing with like the intake questionnaire, and then we are building meal plans for you that generate grocery lists. And so that is coming out right. Like, we're working on it this year. It should be a couple months. So I think that would be awesome, because if I continue to compete worldwide, I can help clients in other countries, in other states, and not have to be physically present to where I can physically deliver to you. So that's how we're trying to grow.
That's special.
That's
big time
awesome.
growth right there.
Yeah. So if somebody is struggling or stuck, what words of wisdom would you give them?
Like, if they are at the point where they're like, I don't want to keep on eating and training like this, I think they should take a week off, or maybe even, like, I just took a 4-week kind of break where I ate more calories. And it's not because I was giving up or I'm burnt out. It's because I know in my head, hey, we need to get our goals aligned here. So let's pause, eat a little more food, be more present with friends and family, and then come back and kick ass. And that's exactly what it did for me.
Diet breaks.
Knowing yourself.
Key. Yeah. I hate calling it a diet breaks because, again, brings in the D word. But having a time where you're kind of upregulating midway through a cut and taking a little reprieve from eating such low calories is so valuable.
Yeah, honestly, like, maintaining weight is something that it's awesome to be able to maintain weight. Like, some people, people think, oh, I always got to be cutting, always losing weight. But if you can maintain weight, that's awesome in itself. If you can be consistent with your eating and your training and you're eating more, that's awesome that you can maintain.
Absolutely. So. Getting that metabolic fire built.
Yeah.
Built up.
Just a furnace down there.
So what is the first thing you think when you wake up in the morning? That's a good question.
Okay. Put on my Apple Watch, take my creatine, take my keratin biotin, drink 16 ounces of water, record my morning weight, and get my pre-workout mix and go to Mecca. That's the first 10 triggers in my brain. Oh, and text Karan, good morning, baby. I do all that.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, that's awesome.
That is awesome.
If you could have dinner with 3 people, dead or alive,
great question.
Who would they be and why?
Tim Ferriss is pretty cool. I listen to him a lot. I think he has a lot of wisdom. He inspired me a lot as an entrepreneur. Buff Bunny, she's from Alaska. In her 20s, very successful business owner. Kind of started the same way with bikini shows. I would love to pick her brain. Who would be number 3? I already had dinner with Gordan Ramsey. Who?
A little flex there.
Let's see. Honestly, Cardi B. You guys are gonna judge me, but she is.
Cardi B.
She's a savage, man. She would be very entertaining to talk to.
Yeah. I mean,
the first time I saw her in a YouTube video, I was like, "Who is this person?" But she's very smart,
off the walls,
and
man.
she's
She
a
is
hard
off the
worker.
walls.
Dude, totally.
To be honest, I can't stand the music, but it would be a phenomenal dinner.
She'd be
guest.
entertaining.
Yeah. Okay, top 3 books. Are you a reader?
I'm not a reader, but I am a podcaster.
Ah.
So I'm always on the run. I like to audio it in my ears.
Audiobooks for the win.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. One thing that's changed my mindset substantially, a book would be branding and content marketing. They basically talk about schools and how they're kind of a business. This is like, it's a very like a negative perspective, but it does change your mindset. It also relates churches to businesses in a way, and you're like,
100%.
really changed my mindset. And then another book, let's see, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. That is a very important book, I think, especially for millennials and females on Instagram. You're always comparing yourself to other people. You're always trying to post the best photo, the best video, and you're worried about what everyone's thinking. And at the end of the day, it's like, are you happy doing what you're doing? Why are you giving a fuck about everyone else out there? So that book is very helpful for me. Third one. I can't think of a third one right now. What audiobooks have I listened to?
Bernstein Bears. I'm just kidding.
Yes.
What?
Whole.
I have a 3 and a 5-year-old. Sue me.
Yes.
Okay.
It slaps.
Okay. We can leave it at that. Okay. Here's one of my personal favorite questions. Top 2 movies. I'm a big movie buff, so this is.
Oh my gosh, Benjamin Button! I cry every time.
Dude.
Benjamin
Button.
I'm growing younger.
Oh, it's so sad. Oh my gosh.
I remember watching that.
Benjamin Button.
I watched that on Christmas one year with my family. We went out to a movie on Christmas and saw that movie.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah, random. That's the only time I've ever seen it, but
It's
I
such a
remember
unique
it
story.
vividly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very unique story.
Yeah, I love that one. And I have to say The Notebook. I don't know.
Oh,
I just
that's
like
fine.
those like
That's fine.
sentimental.
We won't judge. It's pretty
Yeah.
basic, but
No,
we're not
like
going to
that.
judge. Oh man,
It's
The
a classic,
Notebook.
man.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay, top gym song or band currently. What are you plugging into in your ears?
It's funny. Alex and I have a going conversation of you need to listen to this song. He's got good music. So right now it's Young
Alex?
Dolph. Yeah.
Monster Alex?
Yep.
Oh,
He's
boy.
got good music, guys. Young
Yeah, he
Dolph
does.
and Key Glock sending me all their music. Yeah.
Why am I not getting these music
Lil Wayne,
recommendations?
Someone's about to get a talking to.
I need to be thrown in on
You
this.
got to have
on
the
this
plug.
Probably
music.
should
Yeah,
do
dude.
a group music thing
Yeah.
going
Yeah,
on.
we really should. My music
yeah.
stinks, man.
People probably think I'm like a Taylor Swift girl, but it's all hood. It's all hip hop and rap.
Straight.
Once
hood
you get to
rap.
know you, I totally agree.
No,
with
I
that,
can
of
see
course.
that 100%. So, preferred training style and method of exercise. So, you came to me as a very endurance-based individual.
Yes.
I feel like we've slowly converted you over the years. We've talked you into taking an off season, reducing your cardio, and doing more resistance training. But nowadays, how do you feel about that?
I love it. I was doing 2 20-minute cardios walking for a long time, and I still lost a pound a week. I love that because
Right.
otherwise I'm running up serve a day every week. That's what I used to do to train for Mount Marathon. Ugh, rough.
Fun fact, when my weenie dad had to drop out of running Roby Creek in 2019, I gave her his
He did.
his
I was
number.
so sad. I was like, I'm gonna do Roby Creek, the half marathon, and I was like, yeah, I didn't get in. And then he got in, and I was like, oh, I was so mad. And he's like, you know what? My dad doesn't want to race this year if you want it. I was like, I will take that gladly.
That's awesome.
Yeah, keep in
I
mind.
did beat Eric in that.
Yes, no, she straight up did. My calves cramped so bad I couldn't even explain to you.
I
It
remember
helps
that
when you
story.
train for it.
He's
Sure,
also
you know
like
training.
carrying 100 pounds more muscle than me, so yeah,
Yeah.
13 miles of that, nuts.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, it's like 7.5 miles straight up.
It's
so
an
it was
uphill
brutal.
half marathon.
That's not what killed me, man. I mean, she did pass me on the uphill. I got a good jump to start, and I wanted to quit like the first half of the uphill.
Yeah.
I was miserable.
Uh-huh.
And then Ava passed me, and I'm like, okay, I can't let her beat me.
Right, can't be letting her.
And so,
Yeah.
I actually got to the top in a decent time. She still got there faster than I did. She's a much more seasoned endurance runner than I am.
I think you took a minute off my mile, like every mile that race. I took 13 minutes off the time that year.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, she did great. But that race was miserable. I weighed 225 running a half marathon, and I had run a total of 10 miles total.
Yeah.
Prior to that, in the 6 months prior. And I mountain bike a lot, but that doesn't really translate. Like, my lungs were totally fine. My calves were dying.
It's strange. Like, in endurance racing, you just tell your mind, like, you can't stop. Like, you're in it now. It sucks. You got to finish. But, like, I do, like, weight training a lot more now because you're in your own head. You push yourself. Like, I'm not really a group fitness person. Like, I can't get down with someone else, like, controlling my pain and torture. And, like, no, don't tell me to break up the speed on my bike.
Group setting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Ooh,
it's still different.
I could do it with friends, but I'm more
Yeah, but
self-motivated.
you love you some torture. I think out of most of my clients, I think you probably like torture just as much as
I'm
anyone.
like, can we do sleds today? You're like, yeah.
Yeah,
I think we should do legs.
There's been several workouts that she's texted me ahead of time and be like, yeah, can you just literally kick my ass today to the best of your ability? And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, oh, man.
Yeah.
Bless her heart.
Yeah.
She's sick.
She's sick.
But I respect it.
You're right.
I
You just got
respect
a seat
it.
at the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Hunter gets to film it. It's the
get
best.
Oh, yeah,
It's
I know.
weird. I feel like the worst lazy fat slob. Watching you guys do your thing, but it's a pleasure
The
to film
pressure's
it.
on when you're there. I'm like, okay, if everyone's watching it, I
Yeah,
can't
that's
stop.
right.
The
Get in
camera
there.
makes performances.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That is a fact. But so running, endurance, or lifting, what do you gravitate towards now?
There'll always be space for endurance training, like mountain marathon. Everyone knows, okay, I love that race to death. But strength training is my favorite now. I love sled pushes.
You done it. You did it.
Yes.
Sleds are my favorite, I think, exercise because it kind of brings me back to track days. Where it's like, go.
Yeah.
And then what do I like doing right now? Ooh, the hamstrings on the Smith machine. Those where you like lean forward with the BFR bands. Ooh, hits
Talk about
different.
torture.
Yeah.
That one's good. Yeah.
Yeah, very good. Well, we've made a lifter review. I'm happy. I can die happy now. This is the question of all questions. Who would play your character in a biography? Hunter's good at answering.
I
this
try.
one.
I've actually been
Yeah,
thinking about this
maybe
for the
can
past
you
10
pull
minutes,
from? I mean,
I don't know.
Anyway.
Let me start. Let me do a little search. We don't have to go to
Phone
the
call.
next question, but I'm having a
Phone
hard
a
time
friend.
too. Phone a friend.
Phone a friend. Oh man. Thinking about it. I don't know, man. I'm really bad at answering this question for people, but
I think it's interesting because when I look at I could see you being a Hollywood person like herself. Ava would play herself.
She's
I would
totally
love that.
Hollywood.
Yeah.
We're just gonna call her Hollywood.
Hollywood. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know either.
Yeah.
Female actress. She's got to be.
I love Jennifer Aniston, but I already call Heather Jennifer Aniston because she's looks amazing at her age. If anyone knows it, Heather.
Yeah.
So I
totally.
can't take Jennifer Aniston. She's already taken, but I love Jennifer Aniston.
Emma Watson.
People have compared me to her before.
Oh yeah.
That's
no,
what
no,
The
no,
eyebrows, she got
yeah.
that thick eyebrows.
Yeah. No, I can see that for sure. Okay, we'll go with that.
There we go.
I like it. Good job, Hunter. You never let us down. You never let us
I
down.
try.
Top 2 role models and influences in your life.
Eric, I mean,
Oh,
very much so. He's
I
a
am so
business
blessed.
owner, fit, has an amazing family. I would love an amazing family one day, so I look up to Eric a lot. And
well, thank you.
number 2, okay, I would say Chef Naomi was a huge mentor for me back home. So when I was in high school, she mentored our Pro Start team that went to compete in high school. I also worked with her at Bridge Seafood Restaurant when I was 14 years old. She was
cool.
the head chef there. And then she became my professor in culinary school University of Alaska Anchorage. And she's
cool.
female, makes a lot of money, makes good food, hard worker. So Chef Naomi's a big reason for who I am today. So
that's awesome.
Those two perfect ones right there.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm flattered. Thank you. So Hunter, what do you think here, buddy? Do we talk her into cooking us a food challenge at the end of this? Is that what this is going to
I think we need to see a 10,000 calorie challenge still. I'm so down to do that.
Watch
gracious, dude, yeah. We've been talking about this for a while, but yeah, dude.
When is it going to happen? Does it need to happen after New Zealand?
Oh, it can. Well, if I'm going to be part of the 10,000 calorie challenge.
Or are you just cooking it?
That would be a big day. I'm just cooking it, yeah.
Okay, good deal.
Yeah.
Dude. Well, then we're going to have to figure that out.
Yeah.
So that'd be fun.
It could be in milkshakes. That'd be like 3,000 calories easy. It could be in cake.
Dude.
It could be in burgers. It could be in fries. It could be...
I think we do like a 5-course meal, 10,000 calorie challenge. It'd be amazing. Because, when you're eating one thing so repetitively, it just starts to kind of get boring to the taste buds.
Yeah.
But if you're like moving on one thing to the next.
Should there be a time limit or have a whole 20, a day to do it? Or should it be between the hours?
Absolutely like in an hour.
Yeah, you got to sit down and do it.
10,000 in an hour. That we have to do that.
I think that's the makings of a good YouTube
Pay attention
video.
to the YouTube channel.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and starve myself for the
you got to
next
do
few weeks.
some fasting. And
There's a preparation process.
Clean things out. Oh, man. Here we are talking about doing a horribly unhealthy eating on the podcast. But it's food, right?
Document it. It's for education.
It's educational purposes.
How would this person react by sitting down and eating that?
It takes 3,500 calories surplus to gain a pound. So honestly, 10,000 would be not even 3 pounds. So. Yeah.
Well, and that's 3,500 on top of baseline calorie burn. So if we went and burned, Hunter and I could easy burn, 5,000 calories in a day, get some intense exercise going. Yeah. So then we're really only talking about.
And then if you lose 1 pound before the challenge, you'll break even.
Yeah, you're break even. It's math.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's simple math.
Yeah. It's simple math.
You just gotta know where to put the numbers.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. I need to just do a lot of biceps, and triceps.
Just get massively.
Put them all right here.
Yeah. Right here. Just put them up through your belly out.
Yes. Well, there will be many more videos and filmings to come, but I am honored to have you on the podcast. I look forward to eating your meals every week, and I know everybody else does. Hit up Ava's Flavas, Ava Flava, if you need any meal prep service done. We have her fridge here in the gym that she stocks. It's super easy. You swipe your credit card, you open the door, you take your stuff. It charges you for what you took. It's amazing.
It is some extreme.
It's the best. She basically feeds our whole staff every week. It's incredible.
It's so fun.
That's true. It's really fun to go back there at the beginning of the week in that fridge and just open it up and it's just meals.
Oh, yeah.
What's ever eating right here? Okay.
Yeah, it's great.
It's fun.
So, anyway, without further ado, I'll let you close it up. Is there any last words that you want to tell the fine people that listen to the Power of Lifting podcast?
Eat good food, train hard.
There it is.
Amen.
Amen. Eat good food, train hard. All right, that is it. We'll wrap it up. Thank you for joining us on the Power of Lifting podcast. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. For more content like this, follow EricCafferty and the Mecca Gym on all social media platforms.